According to Volt.com, 58% of employees have engaged in a romantic relationship with a coworker. There's a lot of advice out there, and some people say don't shit where you eat, but considering it's 58% of people, which is the majority, giving that advice is about as impactful as saving the world from climate change by holding in your farts. God. So really, it's not going to make much difference. If you are going to date someone who you work with, there are 3 things you should really do. That is befriend, connect, and understand. So befriend is effectively befriend as many coworkers as you can. The workplace and the people you work with should be your friends. You should not see them as potential candidates for sex or anything like that. You should befriend the guys, you should befriend the girls, and you should be social in general. It is your workplace. What you should be doing is being social and being professional, depending on what kind of job you're doing. The second thing is connect. Connect to your coworkers. You can connect with them on Facebook, you can connect with them on Instagram maybe, or LinkedIn, depending on how professional it is. But I'm recommending Facebook because Facebook's very casual. So when I used to work with other people in various situations, I would connect with the people I got along with on Facebook rather than LinkedIn, because I wanted to build more of a personal relationship and an informal one rather than the professional one. In doing so, you're not alienating anyone, but also just being social helps you get better friends and also meet people you're more interested in, especially for dating. The third thing is understand. You need to understand the company policy. A lot of companies have policies about relationships. 44% of people in the stats say that they don't even know what their company policy is in terms of dating coworkers. So you need to be very clear on what the rules are in case there are any kind of limits or barriers you have to abide by. The one thing you really want to avoid is to get into any kind of trouble or jeopardize your career or someone else's career as well. You should be perfectly safe. A lot of people hide that they are actually dating or romantically involved with someone in the workplace. Now, I'm making this video particularly because a lot of people keep asking about it, but I also have multiple experiences with this myself. I have had one relationship from my workplace and also one fuck buddy as well. When I got into a relationship with someone through my workplace, what I was doing for my job was going to different locations to work with different teams to train them on sales. Now, obviously, I have to maintain a professional relationship, but there was a woman there who was doing a similar thing that I was doing, but for another company. So we didn't work for the company that owns the building or operated in the building. We were there kind of for the same reason. Effectively, we didn't work together for the same company. We represented different companies, and we only met once a week during work. So it wasn't like we were very regularly working together. So the way it escalated was that I was befriending people on Facebook. I befriended her on Facebook and some others on Facebook as well. It was mainly just guys working there, but having those connections on Facebook helps, because if one person is interested in the other, you can see that person's life on Facebook and you can see theirs and they can respond. So the way it started is that she started messaging me, and then eventually we became more interested in each other and started going on dates. And we actually dated for a while. She became my girlfriend and we were in a relationship. The other occasion, I was doing the same job but at a different location, visiting a different location. And there was a similar story, a woman there doing a similar thing for a different company. and she would be working there maybe 1 or 2 days a week that I would be visiting. But this was after my relationship, so I had already dated someone through my workplace. So I already was doing those standard things like connecting with people on Facebook. Again, it was mainly guys I was working with, but I befriended a lot of the team on Facebook, including some of the bosses as well. So although there was the professional level in the workplace, I also like to be very casual, and my workplace behavior is that I do my job, but at the same time, because I have to teach people as well about certain things like marketing, it's my role to have a conversation with various people in the first place. So for me, it was very easy to have those connections because it was kind of a part of my job, but also a huge part was rapport, building rapport. So having these personal connections meant it wasn't really me talking to them as a company, but as a person as well. I was friends with whether it's a guy who's 21 years old or a guy who's 45 years old. We would have conversations when we're not busy, and that's just how workplaces should be. However, this one woman who I started seeing on the outside, she started escalating on me. She started flirting with me in the workplace. She even grabbed my ass in the workplace in front of others while we were in a circle. So this is something you shouldn't do and you should avoid because, well, you want to be safe and you don't really need other people to know. Everything should be safe for when you're outside of work. Keep professional at all times. So here's what you should not do. Do not make advances or sexualize in the workplace. That's the wrong thing to do. That's something she did to me in the workplace in front of others. If that was reversed, if a man was doing that to a woman, then, well, that's not going to go down very well. So be sensible, of course, be sensible.
They could be exposing themselves, and you don't want us exposing ourselves.
Number 2, do not disobey company policy. Again, as I said, about 44% of people studied don't even know what the company policy is. Dating in the workplace is very common. The majority of people do it. And if you are going to do it, just make sure you know what the policy is so you don't cross any lines or get any resistance or punishments or anything like that. Avoid all consequences that are unnecessary. Make sure you know what you are getting into. Number 3, do not date up and do not date down. That means do not date your boss and do not date whoever you are the boss of. Because that is not just a professional relationship where you report to someone or someone reports to you. That is an entire dynamic within the workplace that you do not want to screw with. And that will just make things complicated. Of course, it will happen to some people, but try to avoid it. Again, understand your company's policy, but make sure when you are going to date someone, that could be someone from a different team, that's okay. If you're dating someone on the same level as you, that's okay as well. Do not date up, do not date down. Same level or different team, different building, for example. That makes more sense and it's less risky. It doesn't come without risk, of course. It's a very unspoken kind of thing. A lot of people keep it secret. A lot of people hide it. It's not something you really want to discuss outside of your relationship as well. You can start seeing other people or you can get a new job, whichever way you put it. But if you are going to date in the workplace, just make sure you stick to the rules and be sensible. When I was in New York, there was a guy who told me that he got fired for not being sensible in general. If you're watching this, you're a complete fucking madman. So anyway, this guy told me that he got fired for getting a broomstick and poking his boss's ass with it. His boss was not a woman, it was a man, so it wasn't to do with anything to do with dating or anything like that. It's just a stupid thing to do. So obviously be sensible. Do not disrespect people in the workplace or anything like that. And that is pretty good to compare with sexualization in the workplace as well, because if you're going to grope each other or kiss each other or anything like that in the workplace in front of other people, that's not really what people want to see, and it could be alarming. That being said, make sure you know your company policy, don't do anything stupid, and be sensible.